It's now time to bring you the latest from the world of business. We now start with the latest we have from President Muhammadu Buhari in a twist of events who has revised his authorization of the acquisition of the entire share capital of Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited by Seplat Energy Offshore Limited. The move puts the presidency on the side of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, which had earlier declined the $1.3 billion transaction. Now, earlier on Monday, a statement by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, revealed that President Buhari consented to the acquisition of ExxonMobil shares by Seplat Energy Offshore Limited. But given an update on the issue, the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, insists that the president had reversed the decision and the previous misunderstanding was because the agencies involved in the decision-making process had not coordinated well among themselves. And now in this next report, the federal government's total borrowing from the Central Bank of Nigeria through ways and means advances rose from 17.46 trillion naira in December last year to 19.91 trillion naira by June this year. According to the data from the CBN, that shows that the federal government borrowed 2.45 trillion naira from the Apex Bank within the 6-month period. The 19.91 trillion naira owed the Apex Bank by the federal government is not part of the country's total public debt stock, which stood at 41.6 trillion naira as of March this year, according to the Debt Management Office. Now, according to the Section 38 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2007, the Apex Bank may grant temporary advances to the federal government with regard to temporary deficiency of budget revenue at such rate of interest as the bank may determine. And now the Lagos State government has begun preparations for the year 2023 budget with a 5-day consultative forum in the 5 divisions of the state, namely Ikeja, Badagry, Ikorodu, Lagos Island, and Ekpe. The forum is aimed at transparency to the state's budgetary preparation process and also an avenue for government to update stakeholders on half-year performance of the budget, as well as soliciting their views and inputs in it. The consultative forum commenced early on Tuesday with the Badagry division of the state, followed by Ikeja and Agidingbi axis of Lagos State, while other locations would also follow suit. Reviewing the year 2022 media budget performance, the Commissioner for Planning and Budget, EGUBE, also says that Lagos State has so far achieved about 80% of revenue, and that is quite phenomenal, especially considering the challenges that the country faces as a whole. The Commissioner reiterates that Governor Sanwo-Olu's administration's resolve to continue large investments in human capital projects, education, healthcare, job creation, and engaging in collaborations that would boost economic sustainability.
In terms of performance this year, I will say that on the revenue side, our state achieved 80% of revenue. 502 billion was the revenue that we did achieve, and that was quite phenomenal, especially when you consider the challenges that we face as a country. When you then look at our total internally generated revenue, we had 346 billion compared to 451 billion, achieving 77% performance. When you look at our total budget, out of an expectation of 880 billion, we have spent about 675 billion, achieving 77% performance.
You will all agree with me that the basic elements of good governance are stewardship, accountability, transparency, and inclusiveness. And this is why, in fulfillment of the promise of an all-inclusive governance by Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu at the inception of this administration, stated that the 2023 budget will And the state has always adhered to proper consultation and due diligence, especially in decision making.
And moving on now, the Fiscal Responsibility Commission has called for the immediate passage of the amendments to the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007 and the setting of a debt limit for both the federal and state governments. The FRC Chairman Victor Marocco notes this is imperative to stem the worsening trajectory of debt accumulation at all levels and also to check loopholes in the public finance management system. The challenge of remittance compliance is also specific to the Act, which seeks to provide for prudent management of the nation's resources and ensure long-term macroeconomic stability of the national economy. He also regrets the nonchalant attitude of the Ministry's department and agencies towards the remittance of public funds, capitalizing on the gaps of the FRA, especially the lack of sanctions for non-compliance. Well, we're about to join some live feed now from Rivers State, especially in Port Harcourt, as we're having some infrastructure development and Governor Wike also attending to some of the latest developments in the state. Here, live feed from Port Harcourt. And now shifting focus to the international front, Asian shares extended a global rally today after softer than expected U.S. inflation data encouraged bets of less aggressive rate hikes from the Federal Reserve, while the dollar struggled for footing after its biggest plunge in 5 months. Now, MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan surged 1.4% to the highest level in 6 weeks, buoyed by a 1.8% jump in Hong Kong and a 1.2% advance in South Korean shares, as well as a 1.5% gain in China's blue chips. The risk-on sentiment is set to continue in Europe when markets open, with the pan-region Eurostock 50 futures also lasting about 0.4% within the green territory. The S&P 500 futures rose 0.2% and Nasdaq futures also gained 0.3%. Wrapping up business news here this hour, oil prices on the international market drifted lower today after gaining more than $1 in previous session as concerns over supply disruptions eased and markets also look for evidence of improving fuel demand. US West Texas Intermediate crude recorded a price dip of 0.66% to hit $91.32 per barrel. Brent crude now sells at about $96.79 per barrel, registering a downward price margin of 0.63%. Bonnie Light's performance, however, still remains unchanged in the red territory at 3.25%, selling at $118.10 per barrel. And for the OPEC basket crude oil dealers offer $100.90 per barrel, recording a price surge of 0.14%.